I've told you this before. I had an interesting message through to my Facebook page, the Andy the Gabby Facebook page, from a lady called Mariana. And she was asking me if I could get in contact and provide some kind of insight into whatever it happened to be at the time. And when I looked at her profile picture, I thought, I recognise you. So I did a little bit of digging. Turns out it's Mariana Spring, the head of disinformation at the BBC. I thought, no, you don't, girl. I've stopped you in your tracks before you got anywhere near me. So I emailed her back and I said, are you that nice lady that runs the disinformation department at the BBC? I never got a reply. So I'm assuming that the silence was golden and I was bang on the button. And it got me to thinking, why on earth have they contacted me? And you see, when you get to a certain point in your, I suppose, YouTube journey, and I'm not the only one, I'm not speaking for myself, there's loads like me, people start listening. And you have I suppose, a bearing on the narrative. I mean, has mentioned this a couple of times in videos where, people should be encouraged to make YouTube channels, talk, say what you think about events, give opinions, and try and get people to see that there's more to this than meets the eye, the whole story. I mean, if you agree with that, subscribe to the channel. Now, when you have voices like mine, as Jeff Buys Cars, Richard Vobe, Simon Sideways, there's so many others, there's literally thousands, the mainstream media starts to lose control of the narrative because there are other people with other opinions which are more real life, real to the world. At the end of the day, I'm a taxi driver, sits in my garage in my car, goes for a walk around the streets telling you what I think. And, either you agree or you disagree. Now, that will worry the mainstream very much and send them into a panic. Now, instead of recognizing that there's a change in the landscape and trying to, cooperate or coexist and realize things are different now, the internet has certainly made it all a much bigger place, a much bigger playground for more people. They panic because they can't control the message anymore. They can't control what we're supposed to believe anymore because we actually go looking for ourselves and research it ourselves. And they start thinking, right, what do we do about it? I know, let's discredit. Let's call them names. Let's make them look bad. Let's try and do anything we can in our power to finish this off. And the more they do, the more credibility they lend to the other side. I don't know if they realize that. Now, I saw this event come up on social media, which raised an eyebrow with me. And here it is. How to solve a problem like GB News. Now, GB News to the mainstream is a problem because they don't like their very existence. I have my own doubts and issues with GB News with some of the stuff that they release, but in the main, the basic idea was there. Now, look at this, Media Democracy Festival 2024, Saturday the 16th of March at the Diamond Building, the University of Sheffield. So what do they mean by Media Democracy Festival? Des Friedman, the chair of Media Reform Coalition, Helen Belcher, Trans Media Watch, Michael Crick, I know that name, journalist and broadcaster, Marcella Pizarro, Goldsmiths University of London, and Faisal Hanif, Centre for Media Monitoring. Those are people that are going to be speaking at this event. Now, when I saw this advertised on Twitter, at first I thought, well, is this just another lefty fest? And I thought I'd look further into it. Now, the actual event page itself, I'll bring this up on the screen. Okay, so there we go. If I pull this up, you can see it's a ticketed event on eventbrite.com, which is one of the main ticketed websites. And you can see there quite clearly sold out. So I do wonder the seating capacity of that venue. And you can see from 12 till 5, there are speakers, there are workshops, and it's all about this thing, media democracy. And there's the speakers again. How do you solve a problem like the GB News? And you can see some of the other people there and some of the words or wording that they're going to be discussing. Now, down the bottom here, we have got a full list of the itinerary. And they go, in order to create a democratic society, we have to first create a democratic media. What do they mean, democratic media? Every year, the Media Democracy Festival brings together activists. I don't like the word activist. That's very left-leaning to me. Call me mad, call me wrong, but that's the way, that's the vibe I get. Independent media organizations, academics, and policymakers to understand what's happening in the media landscape. Now, I believe that, as I said at the beginning of this video, they fear that they're losing control of the media landscape, because I've realised a long time ago that when you see something on BBC, sorry for swearing, GB News, or any of the local newspapers, it's keyed in such a way that they want you to believe something is amiss. They use distraction as well. For example, this latest thing with the photograph of the Princess of Wales and her kids and all the furore, you know, where's the original? Oh, that's fake, that's fake. It's plastered everywhere. It's media control. Now, some of these organizations that were mentioned here, the first one, media reform. Now, let's have a look at this. Media reform, what's that about? So, the Media Reform Coalition works with partner organisations and supporting individuals to fight for a democratic and accountable media system. I do agree that media needs to be accountable, because, you know, if there's any bias or if they plain get it wrong, then somebody needs to say something. It's got to be factual. The MRC has spent the last decade campaigning for a media that serves the interests of the public, not a handful of billionaires. Now, I can get behind that goal if that's what it sounded like it should be. You know, media for the people. If you go back to the 1980s, just that far back, well, better part of 40 years, Christ, is it really? We were just told what was going on in the world. There was no, you're going to believe this, you're going to believe that. It's just, you know, 1986, I pulled that out of the hat. The Challenger shuttle blew. There was a Herald of Free Enterprise sunk off the coast of Zeebrugge. Both events I remember. And funnily enough, I was 9 years old. I was sitting down in front of the telly eating my breakfast before school and watched those powerful news events. That's what the news is. Reporting of truth, reporting of events. And in the age of the internet and in the age of social media, we've all got these twisted opinions of, you know, what's supposed to be in our minds, what we're supposed to believe, and the media has just morphed into something else. And unfortunately, as time goes by, people wake up to the fact they're being spoon-fed. They don't like it. So then they go looking in other places, such as here, this channel where I am right now, speaking to you and looking for like-minded voices. So the mainstream gets pulled away from. I see that every day, and it's becoming more and more obvious. Let me know what you think in the comments. And another one of these, Trans Media Watch. Now, you have to be careful what you say about this subject. Welcome to Trans Media Watch. We're a charity dedicated to improving media coverage of trans and intersex issues. So this is another issue that is very divisive within the media landscape. You know, you get two camps, those that support it and those that are very against it. I'll be honest, I accept that it's something, but I can't understand it. I just don't understand it. I don't think I ever will. But it seems to be part of the media makeup, and it's something they want us to accept as the reality of our current world. So is that what that company's about? And last but not least, the Centre for Media Monitoring. I'd never heard of this before. And here it is. You can see here. The Centre for Media Monitoring is a Muslim Council of Britain project. Academics and specialists across the world recognise that the MSM reporting of Islam and Muslims is contributing to an atmosphere of rising hostility towards them in Britain. Now, those organisations involved in this project or involved in this festival are key to promote or discuss certain areas of the media space which they want us to be influenced by and want us to believe. You know, the media monitoring service, there's big problems with other demographics as well. Where is the discussions about them? It just seems to be very insular and very isolated to those specific things. And you saw the other mention as well. And then people will think, well, what about our country? What about our people? What about our shopping bills? What about our gas, our electricity, our children, transport, the things that matter? And we think, oh, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. I'm going to go and look elsewhere. I'll go see Andy the Gabby Cabby or Paz 49 or Simon Webber, History Debunked, you know, and they lose control of the situation. And as I said earlier, they need to understand, they need to work with it rather than against it. Otherwise, they're going to continue down the deep hole of oblivion they're currently traveling down. That's my opinion for what it's worth. Bit of a long video. Let me know what you think in the comments. As always, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share the hell out of my stuff. And if you want to watch another one of my videos, one should have just popped up now. I look forward to talking to you again soon. Toodaloo.